Good morning. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, if any new student has joined this class who was not there in the previous class, uh, I would request them to go through the slides that are already shared and talk to some of the fellow students. If any difficulty is there, you contact me. And those were mostly simulation on MATLAB, and to get some idea about digital signal processing, which can also be termed as digital sequence processing, number crunching in certain sense. So that was the main thing that we discussed in the previous classes. Okay. Uh, so before I begin, and also the other thing that we discussed in the last class, that we have got a good amount of feedback of the previous semester uh, regarding the how difficult it was, how intense it was, many such things, and the general uh, consideration that is considered by all faculty, that these this mode of teaching is really has some element of additional pressure. One thing is in normal face-to-face class, somehow or the other you get a break between two classes. Teacher comes, does roll call and all, and occasionally there is a wider participation in the discussion, uh, which is kind of absent here. So usually the content becomes very high and the student doesn't get time to somehow come out of this class and mentally remain prepared for the next class, which immediately comes after it. So 55 minutes here is in the normal class is a different kind of thing altogether. So one suggestion was given that limit the discussion up to say 45 minutes or so, and I mean the content delivery, and rest you go for interactions, discussions, understanding, or at least give student time to join the next class after taking a short break of 5 minutes or so. Anyway, so these were the things. So we shall start. So we shall go at a pace which is comfortable, I believe, and we are a longer version of this semester. I mean, normal version of this semester. So I believe it will be less taxing this time. So those who attended Tuesday lab, some of you can give a feedback how what exactly you did, and uh, to what level you actually reached in the Tuesday lab. Can you give a quick feedback? Anyone volunteer, please? No.
Sir, so the problem statement for the Tuesday lab involved basically sampling at a frequency that's compatible with the Nyquist rate, and then frequencies that are below the Nyquist rate, and seeing the aliasing frequencies that arise because of undersampling. This was the first two parts, and I think most people were able to finish till this part. Now
Okay.
we have to do the same for square waves and
Other
start
things.
something called unsampling.
All right. So usually it takes 2 weeks in a normal lab also, the physical mode of the lab. So then we are not doing anything bad or so. It is like that only. Fine. So and then how the evaluation part went regarding that, whether Usually in the lab, actually the TAs go around and see how things are happening, whether and then we have a day-to-day assessment kind of thing. So how that was evaluated, or if it was evaluated or not?
So we are actually divided
Yes.
into sub under TAs.
Sorry, you
We are
are?
all the students have been divided into subgroups and they have been assigned to one TA each. So
Okay.
after the main discussion, like we go to a different team where we are in the subgroup. There's a
Okay.
sub different team also. So over there we are performing the like do coding and performing the experiment and asking the TAs if there are any doubts, and the TAs are also asking us to share screen and show us like what
Right.
we are facing any difficulties.
So basically, then the number is less, 8 to 10 kind of thing. I mean, a smaller number of students.
So 5 students per.
Yes, sir,
Sorry,
around 6 students in a subgroup.
6 students in a subgroup. So then, I mean, basically it is a parallel processing. I mean, and what was the role of the faculty at that time when you were assigned to the TA? Or you are working with the TA? What was the role of the faculty?
So they were visiting each subgroup one by one and seeing what happens, what is
Seeing
happening.
what is happening and helping also. Okay, good. And initially, some half an hour or so, some briefing was there regarding how the lab will be conducted and describing the problem statement. Is it?
Yes, sir. That was in
Oh,
the main meeting.
in the initial thing, and then you went. Fine, I think this is quite reasonable, right? So, fine. So let us get started with today's class. Fine. So I have already shared the syllabus in the class folder, and you will see that there is some element of review of signals and systems, and many other things are there. And as I said, we shall go at a pace which is comfortable for you, and we don't feel taxed and all. So uh, in the initial weeks or initial lectures, you might see a little bit of review activity. Uh, So that part we shall come a bit later. We begin with, since your lab already has started and sampling, etc. you are doing. So whatever review part regarding this LTI system or LSI system, linear shift invariant system, convolution, whatever is there in the syllabus, we shall take up after we finish this segment. Okay. So don't worry, you will not be unduly pressurized. Okay. So we shall do a review. We shall do a review later. Okay. Now, if you remember in the last class, we discussed and told that the digital signal processing, the way we are doing, it has got three important blocks. One is the external signal, which is usually natural signal. This creates problem. Sorry, I'll just again reopen the PowerPoint. Okay. So what we discussed is that this is the DSP block, and then there is a analog to digital conversion happening, and finally, if so required, if you want a analog version of the signal, if that is the goal, then a D2A block that is there. Okay, this we discussed in the last class. This is a general form of the general representation of a DSP system. Okay. And now often it could be so that you don't need this one. You are just trying to analyze this, and after the processing here, you are arriving at a decision that if it is a biomedical signal or some heart signal, ECG signal, brain signal, EEG, MEG, heart sound, lung sound, etc., you are arriving at whether it is a case of normal, this thing, patient, the signal is following normal pattern, or it is some abnormality is there, and if abnormality is there, abnormality of type 1, type 2. Okay, so it might not be required here. Okay, whatever noise removal, etc., you are doing inside. Okay, so that is one kind of activity. Another is basically if you are looking to get back the signal after processing, then you are having a D2A block. Okay, and here in this, it is only number processing that we are doing, right? And often because of this, so-called these DSP experts or DSP engineers like you, like the people coming out of the electronics department, electrical or this electrical science background, they are looked into, they are sought after in places which is not in a sense doing signal processing. Okay, one of my PhD student, he is a hardcore neurosignal processing expert with very good work. So after PhD, he joined HSBC Bank. Okay, and his activity is to analyze the loan portfolio and how the loan will be disbursed and all. So huge amount of data, the customers, how they are responding, and whether there is any pattern in that, and accordingly arriving at risk profile and all. Some algorithm is already there, but he is looking at that. So there, the signal over here that is getting, so it is not necessarily a continuous to analog or conversion, continuous to digital conversion. It is already discretized signal coming from different activities of the customer at different point, and then the outcome is basically a risk profile. But in between, he is doing signal processing, okay, to arrive at different kind of characteristics, so how frequently something is happening, and the characteristics of the signal, so many other things, right? So this is what we would like to keep in mind, that how DSP has an existence and significance of its own, irrespective of these A2D and D2A. However, for naturally occurring signal and its processing, definitely this is a block which is important, and this is a block which is important. And in the last class, we discussed that the information about T, information of time T, that is there. Okay. Otherwise, once it is here, the time reference is gone. It is only number and indices of the number that is there. Okay. Now we are looking at how we are getting the signal, discrete time signal from naturally occurring signal or any continuous time signal. So as I have mentioned in the syllabus that I have uploaded, we shall follow Oppenheim, Schiffer, the textbook, discrete time signal processing, mostly second edition. If I use anything from third edition, I shall share the scanned copies or something. So limited use of that thing is accepted. We are not violating any copyright. Okay. And if any other material from any other source, I shall use them. So if you have a copy of one textbook, that would be sufficient. I am not asking you to look into many different textbooks. Okay, so we shall follow that nomenclature. If there is a deviation in the nomenclature, I shall alert you regarding that so that you can match it properly. So this C is the suffix they use. Oppenheim textbook is using for continuous time signal. So we shall continue with that. And instead of analog to digital, they are writing C to D. C for continuous, D for digital. So it is equivalent to analog to digital. And this capital T that you see is called the sampling period. Already you are somewhat familiar with sampling. So basically the continuous time signal that is there, you are sampling, okay, at a regular interval. Okay, so this is periodic sampling. You are doing at a regular interval. So it is these sample values, which you will be converting to a binary number. So this is a 2.3, this is 5.1 or so, right? You will be having a quantizer through which that part we shall discuss later, and some binary number that will be there, and it will be further processed. Okay. So if you are doing it, then this side, as I said, this is just a sequence of number. So you can write this as X in. So this is the sampling when it is done, say at 0th instant, so it will be X0. Second, after capital T, so this is time 0, this is time capital T. So that will be X1. I hope you can all understand that. Then 2T, so that will be X2 and so on. So you can arrive at this relationship. Okay. So once it is converted and stored in a memory, the T gets missed. T is notional. So you are having only Xn, which you will be playing with. Clear? So this equation is clear, hopefully. Okay, so this is something which we all note, right? And usually when we are talking about normal signal, etc., we are considering that the sampling is done, since the signal started from time minus infinity to plus infinity. It is not that the sampling rate is getting changed at different point of time. Okay, for all n, it is like this. And if it is sampling period, time period, then sampling frequency is just inverse of it. Okay. Now comes the question, which I will pose before you. If I have a signal like this, should we go for a periodic sampling, or should we do aperiodic sampling? Do you get my point? I have a signal like this. Do you see a case in this signal if I am trying to process further? Of course, this looks like very nice and all, but actual signal may have noise, etc., some small variation, etc., right? And your algorithm should be able to remove that noise and give you a nice looking signal also. So do you see a case of a periodic sampling here for a signal like this? Here it is slow moving, here it is fast moving, again it is slow moving. Can I get an answer from any one of you?
Yes, sir.
Like where the rate of change of the signal is more, where the rate of change of the signal is more, then perhaps we should take more samples so that it's more representative of the signal, and where it is changing slowly, we can do with lesser samples maybe.
Very good, very good. So you have uttered a word yourself, representative. The sample should be representative of the signal. Okay. When we look at the definition of the Nyquist rate also, which you may already know or you have used it, you will see you will better understand the significance of it. Okay. So these samples that we are taking, these samples or the sampling rate, even if it is periodic sample, it cannot be just like whatever you feel like. It should be such that this represents the signal in totality so that useful information of the signal is not lost, because your signal is very important. If you have a signal where it gives a signature of some imminent heart attack, and you are doing digital signal processing because continuous time processing is clumsy, or some issues are there, it is cheap, okay, you have got cheap hardware and other things, but then you are doing it in a manner that some important events are getting missed, it is of no use. So the samples must be representative, right? What is the meaning of this representative? If you feel like, if you have the option, in an ideal case, why I'm saying ideal case, that part we shall see later, that you can get back, you can reconstruct the original signal from the samples. Okay, in an ideal case. But actual life is non-ideal, so when you reconstruct, some issues might be there, minor issues, depending on how close you are to the ideality. But in an ideal situation, right, if you this signal, from this signal you can get back this signal. So that is what is meant by representation, proper representation of this signal. Okay. So of course, what some one of you, I mean, I'm sorry, this is the difficulty of this mode. I cannot, when I'm in full screen, I cannot see the person who is speaking and identify the person. Anyway, so of course, you may think of that you should sample at a lower rate here, and you should sample at a higher rate here. Okay, so that the characteristics of the signal, whatever be the case, is properly preserved, because it is a fast moving, it is a slow moving, right?
But sir, I have a doubt regarding this.
Yeah, go ahead.
When we do this aperiodic sampling, like now we are saying that we need to be sampling at different frequency, right? Now this could be representing a periodic sampling of some other signal, right? Now this will lead to an error.
Sorry, I could not follow.
Like now we'll be doing an aperiodic sampling, right, at different frequencies according to our wish and based on the signal. Now, but those samples could be representing a periodic sampling of some other signal.
This I really cannot follow. Periodic sampling of some other signal means this is only one signal I am having. This is my XCT.
Yes, sir. I mean, now these samples could be the samples of some other signal for which we are doing a periodic sampling. That is what I'm saying.
That could be the case. That could
then
be the
there will be a lot of error in the input signal, right? We are completely miscalculating the input signal.
I shall come to that. Okay. I think I'm able to get your point. Okay. I'll come to that. I'll address that. So, so let us, so the idea is we do this periodic sampling. All your text, the entire textbook, entire thing, everything that you do is about periodic sampling, right? But as you see that if, when you have some such situation, like slow moving, fast moving, etc., of course, lower sampling frequency is sufficient here, but here it is higher frequency. So it is a combined signal. What will you choose? Which sampling frequency will you choose? You will choose the higher one, isn't it? Are you able to get me? You will choose a sampling frequency. If you want a single sampling frequency, which is periodically sampling it, you will choose the higher of these two, right? So that nothing is missed from here, and here maybe more than this part is you have more samples than what is necessary, and then by interpolation or by some mechanism you can construct the signal. Maybe you could have done with less number of subsamples to reconstruct this part. Okay, but then you would have missed it. You get my point? Can I get a feedback?
Yes.
Yeah. Yes, sir. So in such a situation, you will go for the higher of these two, the highest frequency that is required. Okay. Now, when you do that, of course, you have got more number of samples here and than necessary. And each sample, as you have noted, each sample, when you convert to binary, so instead of say 1 kilohertz, okay, That means 1000 samples per second. And then if it is 16-bit quantized, each sample is stored in a 16-bit binary, okay, in the form of digits. So 1000 into 16, this is for 1 second. And if you are storing data somewhere for 1 minute or so, that means multiplied by 60, and then you are processing. If you are doing frame-based processing, if it is a 1 minute frame, then this many number of samples you have to process parallelly. You will be requiring that amount of hardware. If this is 1 kilohertz, and here it is a 10 kilohertz sampling that is required. Just I'm, so it will be 10 times that multiplication, right? So you can understand how big the issue, the number of samples, etc., processing power, and all those things are there. Okay, so this is something because those samples you have to process. Those samples you have to play with. You cannot ignore them. But if you look for the periodic sampling and all, and what your friend told in certain sense and all, so you have to anticipate in advance by looking at the rate of the change, and so that I have to alter the sampling frequency, and I have to preserve that information later in some form so that I can reconstruct back. So the complexity becomes so much. Okay. So people work with periodic sampling even when they know for well, that in a many naturally occurring signal, right? All of you have seen ECG signal? ECG signal you have seen? All of you? Yes. Right? You have a slow moving part, and then a RST complex very fast, and then T. PQRST. ECG signal you have not seen. I mean, these doctors, Streep, etc. Okay.
Sir, we have seen, but not that technically.
No, not technically. I'm just telling you, just the nature of the signal. Often you'll see that, these many movies and all. Okay, this signal is going up, down, and all. So we'll see that there is a P, then QRS complex, and then there is a T wave. Again, P, QRS complex, T wave. I mean, this sort of Ganguly thing happened now. This T wave elevation or becoming ultra and all opposite. So that is a sign of imminent heart attack. Many each of these places has got its own signature or meaning, right? So that is how the doctors look at it, and you can do it by your own signal processing stuff, and by analyzing you can do that. So you see that there is a fast moving, there is a slow moving kind of signal. Natural signals are like that. Okay. Anyway, but as I said, there are issues when you try to handle it. Okay. So people are going for periodic sampling. But again, if we keep doing things over and over, year after year, again and again, and then it becomes the norm and it becomes the standard, and perhaps often we do not, do not think beyond that whatever new thing that are happening, by which can I do something where this I can take care in certain manner. The new kind of hardware that has come. Now how the sampling is happening. The signal is there, and then you can have a switch, and just I'm saying a capacitor you can have, some such thing. Again, this sampling that we shall discuss in this discussion in the initial part is ideal sampling. Okay, so switch is connecting here, this analog signal momentarily, right? And then immediately it is going up. And whatever, the energy that goes there, it is stored here, and then you are converting it to binary through A to D converter and so on and so forth. But in practical case, it will be there for finite time. So it will be actually a flat top sampling. Okay, it will not be a impulse kind of thing in practical situation. Again, that part we shall take up later. What is how that's, the problem, I mean, what kind of, issues come because of that and how we can take care of that. Okay. So this is the current thing that is happening. But if you are looking for, different rate of, sampling the signal by assessing the signal characteristic in some manner, its slope and other things, then this rate you have to change, and that you have to store there somewhere. As such, it is difficult in current situation, and we go ahead with this. But it is up to you or anyone in future to think of something which looks at this aspect. Since we are discussing sampling, I thought that we can think of we can look at some of the issues that could be there. Yes, please. Sorry. You have a point here, anybody? No. Okay. Right. So is this part is understood? Now, whatever I had written, I have drawn that, switch is connecting, engaging or disengaging instantaneously, right? And the signal is then converted. If we try to put it mathematically, or then we can put in a manner something like this. Okay. So this is my continuous time signal, right? And this is my sampler. Right. What is the sampler? The sampler is a stream of impulse, okay, which is like this, coming after t interval. So this is 0, this is t, this is 2t, right? It is simply multiplying it, and then you get a sampled version of this xst. And I have already told this is ideal situation. Practically, there will be flat top sampling, right? So something like this, that part we shall see later, what is its effect. And whatever is that value, then this is a sample that we are converting to get xn, which is your xcnt, the xcnt that we had seen here. Okay. Pictorially, it is something like this, right? This is your dotted line is your original xct, and this is the sampled signal, impulse sampled signal xst, right? This is the notion, and xn is that value, whatever that value, that is converted to a number. Okay. So this xst we can write in the form of an equation by this. This is your st. St representation is this one, right? So this is from minus infinity to plus infinity. So delta t is this one, and delta t minus t is this one, delta t plus t is this one, and then if you include other to the right hand side 2t, 3t, etc., that will take your in from 1 to plus infinity, and this side if you want to take, so this will be minus 1 to minus infinity. So this is your st, and when you multiply with xct, you get the xst. Okay, very simple equation, all of you can remember. Now this is not in Oppenheim textbook, but Oppenheim assumes that you already are familiar with it. It goes to the next thing, but if you are not remembering it, so just I put something from some other text over here. Now we know this thing, isn't it? That this is what? Can somebody tell me what is this two? What is this pair?
The Fourier series and the Fourier series coefficients.
Exactly. Thank you. Right. That's why actually Oppenheim assumed that you already know about it. Right. So yeah, but still, for the sake of completeness, and some of you who may find it easier to have something like this put in place. So this is a periodic signal with period length capital T. Right. So from your understanding of Fourier series, expansion, mathematics course that you have done or otherwise, you know that we can write it in the form of a summation of exponential or sinusoids, okay, where these are the coefficients, and the coefficients can be calculated from the signal itself by inverse relationship. Okay, so this you already know. Now this is my original periodic signal. The signal that you are using for sampling, right? So I can think of what are the corresponding Fourier, series coefficients. So for that, what I need to do, I just need to do the integration in which we place this ST. Okay, and when I perform the integration, we often have done it before in your math course set. So you change the order of the integration, right? So this is one standard practice. If you change the order of the integration, then you will see that within this minus t by 2 to plus t by 2, n is equal to 0 is only stands. Others are outside this zone. So only delta t that you are considering here. Okay, and this value is 1 upon t, right? So these Cn values, these are all 1 upon t. Now from this particular relationship, right, this is already shown. So I can write St also as 1 upon t in from minus infinity to plus infinity e to the power j 2 pi nt small nt by capital T. All of you are fine? All of you please go through. If it was in the board to write it down, I needed 1 minute, 2 minute time, and you had opportunity to grasp it. Since it is screen, it is immediately placed. So, but it is something from the past. If you have any question, you can ask. Feel free.
So could you explain the calculation of Cn once?
Calculation of which line? Which line can you tell? The from the top, second, huh?
Third line. So
third line. Okay,
so
okay.
For
Thank you.
N it is just delta t. That's it. Okay, got it, sir.
Sorry.
Got it, sir.
Got it. Okay, okay. I repeat, if someone of you still has the issue, this is changing the order of summation. Okay. And when you change the order of summation or otherwise, you can see that within this integral limit, within this minus t by 2 to plus t by 2, only delta t is having a non-zero value. Delta t plus n plus t. So we know that this is your delta t at t is equal to 0, that is there. And delta t minus capital T, it is this one. This is your 0. This is your t. Delta t plus capital T. This is your delta t plus capital T. Now we are looking at this minus t by 2 to plus t by 2 interval. So within which only this one is there. Okay, because of that, right? So this we note. So this is one representation, and equivalent representation is what you see over here. Okay, in the form of this Fourier series exponential.
Sir, in the previous slide, I had a doubt. Sir, in the third line, the blue colored line, the e to the power minus j 2 pi t by t shouldn't be there, right? Because all the terms regarding n are erased in the previous.
Right. Okay, that is correct. That is correct. This will not be there. So in the slide that I upload, I shall correct it and upload it. Thank you. Who was it? Can you identify it yourself?
Sir, Anish Mondas.
Anish, very good. So since we are consuming all the n, then this is already gone. I mean this part. I mean you are removing this reference. Otherwise you have to keep the reference outside. Okay. This summation sign outside. So if you are directly going here, it should be. So I will correct it and upload it. Thank you. Okay. So now if you look at this equation, this ST, if we just, this particular equation, and in a practical situation also, if from minus infinity to plus infinity, if you are having some finite, such components taken. So minus n to capital N, right? Then if n is equal to 2 and t is equal to 1, you'll see some such thing. N is equal to 5 and t is equal to 1. This you can do yourself also in the simulation, and otherwise, and you can understand also. Okay. N is equal to 10, t is equal to 1. You'll see that this is how things are. The signal will look like, right? And if you are having larger n, then the height is more, but in every case, the area under it is 1. Okay. So if the width is less, then it is becoming more like a impulse train, the one that you have seen before. I mean, this impulse train. Okay. So by inclusion of more and more small n over here, that means increasing the value of capital N. Okay. So that is the idea that we carry forward, and we see that these two are actually the same thing. And the physical significance or the concept behind is what is depicted in this picture. Is it fine? Is it okay? Can I move ahead?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So what I'm trying to insist, or what we have looked at, that these two, this is the one that I have used before, we have used before here, right? And an equivalent representation of this is this one. Now, how is it important? Okay. Its importance now come in the sampling, that theorem, aliasing, etc. That part we shall come later. Now we already know about these definitions, isn't it? I mean, this is we have studied before, right? That what is delta t? Okay, delta t is 0 for any t which is not equal to 0, right? And if you take a limit of delta t, then its value is 1. And if you are calculating delta t, I mean you are multiplying delta t with xt, then you are actually getting x0 value. And if it is delta t minus t naught, you get xt naught value. Okay, these are basic definition of delta t that you have already been made familiar with. Okay. Now, if you take Fourier transform of delta t minus t naught, right? This is the standard Fourier transform, what is it called? Definition, which you have studied in your math class. Okay. And then if you do integrate, you get this one. Okay. And corresponding, this was t minus t naught. If you do inverse Fourier transform, del f minus f naught, then this will be plus. Okay. Then you will get by just symmetry e to the power j 2 pi f naught t. Just spend 1 minute, 2 minutes on, I mean, not 1 minute, maybe 30 seconds or so. See whether you understand or recollect this part. Okay. Fourier transform of del t minus t naught is e to the power minus j 2 pi f t naught, and inverse Fourier transform of del f minus f naught is e to the power j 2 pi f naught t. Is it okay?
Yes, sir.
Can I get your audio response?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Right. So this we have seen in the past in math courses or in many other places probably, right? Now, this is this is the signal, right? then if I look at its Fourier transform, if you just look at the relationship, the way it is there, do you see that the Fourier transform will be like this? Two pi by t, 2 pi by t. Sorry, 2 pi, and this is n t by t. So t is there, 2 pi is there. 2 pi is there, t is there. Okay. So n by t, here it is f naught. So this f minus f naught will be replaced by n by t for one such thing. And if there is a summation of many such things, so it will be a summation of over here. Is it okay?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. If you take just one instance of it, e to the power j, forget about 1 upon t minus infinity to plus infinity, e to the power j 2 pi n small t by capital T. What will be corresponding SF? It will be del f minus, instead of f naught, I have n by t here, so n minus t. Now if I have got 1 upon t here, 1 upon t will come, and many different values of n is there, so many different values of n will come. So this is finally summed up, this is also finally summed up. So if this is my ST, this is my corresponding SF. Right. Now what is this ST? This ST is this one only. Right. Sampling signal, this ST only. So I can now write that sampling signal ST is its corresponding Fourier transform is of this nature. So now with that digression from non-Oppenheim text, various other different texts, we come back to Oppenheim. Okay. So Oppenheim now writes whatever nomenclature they are using, we shall follow that so that it is easier for you. Okay. In one class or the other you miss because of some emergency, you can follow the textbook and slide and you can easily get back. So this is they are using, instead of f, capital omega. Capital omega is nothing but in radian. This is in frequency, radian per second. This is in hertz, this is in radian per second. Okay. So this is 2 pi by t, that is the corresponding sampling frequency. So this is fs equivalent is your capital omega s. Okay. It is, they are connected in this manner. Fine. So the k is that n, right? And this is your 2 pi by t, and then this st in capital omega domain can be written in this manner. Okay. Can you figure that out? This is according to Oppenheim text. After st, they have gone to this sj omega representation. Fine. So I hope all of you could figure it out. Now we know the sampled version of the signal xst, this xst is nothing but multiplication of xct, continuous time signal, and st, that's impulse series, impulse train. So when it is multiplication in frequency domain, we know from our convolution related background, as I said, we shall do a quick review later on. So this is convolution in the frequency domain. This capital omega is nothing but frequency only written in a different manner. So this is multiplication. So the XS j omega X, the S means sampled, its frequency domain is a convolution of continuous time frequency information with that of S j omega that you have just found out, right? And when you do convolution, this is the basic convolution equation, right? Is it fine? This S j omega, that is I'm having over, I'm using this, right? And this is the convolution, basic convolution equation. It becomes this delta that is there. What is the meaning of it? This xc j omega is appearing at every places of delta. This particular signal, S j omega signal. Now what is S j omega? S j omega is nothing but, I have one, what about this magnitude about it? So an impulse over here, another at omega s, and another is 2 omega s, another is 3 omega s, minus 1 omega s, minus 2 omega s, etc. So that is my, this is the signal, except the multiplier. So multiplier we shall take care later. This is now convolved with xc j omega. So xc j omega, it will appear over here, because if you just convolve del omega only with xc j omega, this is the one. If you convolve only del omega minus k omega s, that is k is equal to 1. Del omega minus omega s, that means this one. Only this one, you convolve with xc j omega, you will get this one. And if you take the whole of it, the summation of it, then you will be having many such instances. That is reflected here. And this is 2 pi by t, this is 1 upon 2 pi. So basically it is just cancelling out and 1 upon t is there. So this is the equation, which is the most important equation when we are talking about capital omega domain. Okay. And this is the last slide with which we shall end. So this is my S j omega, right? And this is the sampled version of the X S j omega that is there. This is the magnitude that I have talked about, right? And at this, these are the different omega S, okay? And at that time, replica of that, you can see. Replica of X omega, what about this replica? More about the practical situation, etc. we shall discuss later. Because here it is nice looking, the band limited, it just ends here. Practically, the signal will not end here. Any continuous time signal, naturally occurring, it will have some extension. So those things, etc. we shall, if it is in ideal case, if it is band limited up to minus omega n, right, and you are sampling at a rate which is more than twice the omega n, you have no overlapping occur. So there is no aliasing occur. Otherwise, if the rate is less, then this omega n, that extension that is going up to is this, and this minus omega, this omega s, where there is an image of xc j omega, it will come up to this point. So place there to in filter ideal low pass, which this is a sample signal. I have an ideal low pass filter which just takes out this one. I can reconstruct the signal back after this. So I just send these samples through an ideal low pass filter. Again, ideal low pass filter is ideal only. So there will be some issues in practical low pass filter. I shall be able to get it back. So that is the reconstruction. That is the meaning of representation that somebody talked about. So this gives you the Nike sampling theorem. So with this we end. Anyone wants to make a quick comment? Observation?
Sir,
Yes, please.
sir, could you please move to the slide wherein you wrote about the Fourier series coefficients and its relation?
Can you see? It is not full
Sir,
screen.
yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Sir, you told in the third line to omit the e power minus j 2 pi n t, right?
If n is consumed, that is what your
Sir,
friend
but,
told. No?
sir, but that
Okay.
n which represents function and that n which represents Fourier definition would be different, right?
Okay, I shall get back to this, right? I mean, yeah, what you mention is has a point, but maybe this way that the summation sign was not taken out, it creates confusion. Okay, so I shall get back to that later, and accordingly I shall upload. Any other point regarding this part? This also you see, if you have any other way to represent it, you let me mail it. I shall include that in the slide that I upload, which I do immediately, but I shall do it a bit later. Okay. Any other point regarding the other aspect of it? Okay, then we stop because we may have the next class. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you, sir.
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 Thank you, sir.